영상이 시작되기 전에 먼저 등장할 5개의 문장을 보여드릴게요. 빈칸에 들어갈 표현을 유추해보세요. 단어 하나하나를 직역하지 않고 전체 의미에 맞게 의역하고자 노력합니다. 그게 바로 영어식 사고의 출발이에요. 그럼 시작해볼까요?
This massive legal fight involving Google. Maybe feeling a little shaky about the future. Just enough to tick the box. That could potentially widen the gap with newer AI players. They're already weaving Gemini right into search results.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to really understanding what's going on. Today we're jumping into a huge one, this massive legal fight involving Google, the company that basically shapes our online lives. We're talking about the Google monopoly verdict.
And yeah, the headline was guilty. Simple enough, but the actual outcome, much, much more complicated than just that one word. So our mission today is to sort of unpack what this ruling really means for Google, sure, but also for competition, and maybe most importantly for you listening right now, and how you find information online.
That really is the challenge, isn't it? Because guilty sounds so final. But the real story here, as we'll get into, it's got layers. Our goal is to give you the quick version, the real insights into this decision, which, kind of surprisingly, left Google's empire mostly standing, but maybe feeling a little shaky about the future.
Okay, so let's dive right in. The immediate reaction. Fascinating. Alphabet stock, Google's parent company, it jumped almost 7% right after the ruling came out. I mean, that's more than just investors breathing easier, right? It feels like Wall Street basically saying, okay, these new rules, Google can handle this. Yes.
So what's really behind that burst of confidence?
Well, what's truly striking, I think, is just how dominant Google still is. I mean, after all the scrutiny, they still have something like, 90% of the global search market. It's huge. Their ad money from search is still the main engine, but their reach goes way beyond that. You've got Android, you've got Chrome, YouTube, and now they're pouring billions into AI, like Gemini. It's this incredibly tight, self-feeding system, really hard for anyone else to break into.
Right. And yet, here's the part that makes you pause a bit. The court did find Google guilty back in 2024, guilty of illegally keeping its monopoly. And the fixes, the remedies, they were just confirmed September 2nd, 2025. But even with that guilty verdict, the big breakup everyone talked about, it just didn't happen.
Exactly. And that's the critical point. The court specifically decided against structural separation, which means, they're not forcing Google to sell off big pieces like Chrome or Android. That was the nightmare scenario for investors. So Connecting the dots, that's why the market was like, okay, phew.
Okay, so no breakup. Instead, we get these specific behavioral rules. Google's now banned from signing exclusive deals to be the default search engine on, say, iPhones or Samsung phones. But and this feels like a really big but, those non-exclusive payments, where they pay billions, like over $26 billion a year, just to be the default, those are still okay. It kind of feels like saying, you can't lock everyone else out completely, but you could still pay a fortune to be first in line.
Yeah. And there's another piece, too. Google also has to share some of its search data, ostensibly to help rivals get better. These rules are set for 6 years. But it raises a big question, doesn't it? If Google only shares portions of the data, well, couldn't they carefully pick what they share? Just enough to tick the box, maybe, but not enough to actually create real competition. Will this genuinely help anyone challenge them?
That's the $1 million or maybe $1 trillion question, right? The strategic picture is definitely fuzzy. On one hand, Wall Street's happy because Google's money machine seems safe. But on the other, the ruling does confirm that Google's power isn't just because people prefer it, it's also built on these restrictive deals. Still, without that breakup, Google's free to plow resources into the big growth areas, AI, YouTube, cloud. And AI, well, that seems to be where the whole future of search is heading anyway.
Absolutely. You could almost argue the court's decision, by not breaking them up, actually pours fuel on the AI fire. Think about it. Google isn't distracted by selling off parts of its business. It can focus its entire ecosystem, search data, Android usage, YouTube content on making Gemini smarter, faster. That could potentially widen the gap with newer AI players like ChatGPT or Perplexity, not close it.
And Google's definitely not waiting around. They're already weaving Gemini right into search results with things like AI overviews and this new AI mode. It shows this bigger shift happening in how we all even look for information. It directly impacts your daily digital habits. So what does all this boil down to for the future of search?
Well, to sum it up, Google definitely survived this major legal threat. Its core business, its empire, it's largely intact. Investors are relieved, no doubt. But that guilty verdict, it's still a big deal. It puts an official stamp on the idea that Google's dominance wasn't just earned through being better, but also through tactics regulators saw as unfair.
Right. So the real drama might actually be just starting outside the courtroom. Google has to navigate this huge shift towards AI, find a way to make that work without completely wrecking the advertising model that made them who they are. That's a heck of a balancing act, and how they manage it will definitely shape how you find and use information online going forward.
So maybe here's something to chew on as you're searching for things later today. Will these court-ordered changes actually open the door for real competition? Or is the future of finding information now just locked into this massive AI race where the old rules of monopoly might not even apply anymore?
영어와 시사경제 두 마리 토끼를 한 번에 잡는 알찬 시간 되셨다면 구독과 좋아요를 꾹 눌러주세요. 감사합니다.